proceedings. Thank you.
Martin Owino.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you so much for this time. Mr. Speaker, my father was a chief, and I'm the only wood chief in this house. Perhaps there could be some. It says his grandfather, but thank you so much. I grew in a home of a chief, and I saw, Mr. Speaker, the kind of work they do. First of all, they work 24/7. There is no holiday for them. Number two, they are also counselors. The Speaker, when we were growing up, the couples could come through the gate fighting, and when they leave with their hands together, having been counseled by the elders. So, Mr. Speaker, the chief does a lot of work, and let us not belittle their services. In fact, if we resource them well, eventually we can prevent so many things that goes up even to the courts at that kind of level. Mr. Speaker, these are also people who help those who are sick and those who are hungry, because they know if you're a chief, you should have what they have. And that has been a problem. So I think in payback situation, Mr. Speaker, if we could consider their health package as well as their tuition for their children so that they can live comfortably. But I want to thank you, and I salute them all, and thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Next. Clerk.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you know the Honorable Member for Kericho is asking me when I finished university. I thought I finished 1996, and she thinks when Jared Wino was still in kindergarten. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Wednesday, June 12, 2024, the afternoon sitting. 1, implementation of the recommendation of the Public Accounts Committee on the examination of the report of the Auditor General on the financial statements for the national government ministries, departments, and agencies for the financial year 2020 and 2021 from the judiciary. 2, reports of the Auditor General and financial statements for the year ended 30th June 2023 and certificates therein in respect of 1, Kenya Fish Markets Authority, B, National Housing Corporation, C, Kenya Ports Authority, D, National Construction Authority, E, Kenya Fisheries Services, F, Rural Electrification and Renewable Energy Corporation, G, Lapset Corridor Development Authority, H, Kenya Urban Roads Authority, I, Kenya National Trading Corporation, and J, Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority. I thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to lay.
Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Health. Bokose.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 12 June 2024. Report of the Departmental Committee on Health on the inquiry into alleged fraudulent payments of medical claims and capitation to health facilities by the National Health Insurance Fund.
Thank you. Next.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Health.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this House adopts the report of the Departmental Committee on Health on the inquiry into alleged fraudulent payments of medical claims and capitation to health facilities by the National Health Insurance Fund, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 12 June 2024. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Bokose. Clerk, I want to rearrange the order paper a little. Can we dispose 10 before we come back to order number 7?
Amendments Bill, National Assembly Bill number 67 of 2023, second reading and question to be put.
Order, honorable members, take your seats. Order, Babu Wino, take your seat. Honorable members, I'll now put the question at order number 8, that the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendments Bill, National Assembly Bill number 67 of 2023 be now read a second time. As members of that opinion say aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next. Order.
A bill for an act of parliament to make various amendments to statute law. Order number 9, the Equalization Fund, appropriation number 2 bill, Senate Bill number 30 of 2023, second reading and question to be put.
Honorable Wanjala, take your seat. Thank you. Honorable members, I now put the question at order number 9, which is that the Equalization Fund, appropriation number 2 bill, Senate Bill number 30 of 2023, be now read a second time. As members of that opinion say aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to authorize the issue of a sum of money out of the Equalization Fund and its application towards the service of the year ending 30th June 2024, and to appropriate that sum for certain public basic services and for connected purposes. Order number 10, motion, consideration of Senate amendments to the National Rating Bill, National Assembly Bill number 55 of 2022, question to be put.
Order. Order. Take your seat. Honorable members, I now put the question at order number 10, which is that the Senate amendments to the National Rating Bill, National Assembly Bill, number 55 of 2022 be now considered. As members of that opinion say aye. As members of the contrary opinion say nay. The nays have it. I thought you had all gone mute. We go back to order number 7.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Honorable TJ Kajwang.
Mr. Speaker, sir, pursuant to provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of Departmental Committee on Environment, Forestry, and Mining regarding the ongoing demolition of buildings constructed on riparian land along Nairobi River Basin in Nairobi County. Honorable Speaker, sir, in May 2024, the government directed that all structures built on the riparian land be demolished following the heavy rainfall that adversely affected most parts of the country. This is one of the functions of the established Nairobi Rivers Commission via Gazette Notice number 14891 on 2nd December 2022, signed by the President of Kenya, despite the Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of Environment, Climate Change, and Forest, which has the power to make regulations for matters permitted by law. Moreover, Mr. Speaker, by operation of Article 95 of the Constitution, the Gazette Notice not having been laid before Parliament in accordance with Section 11 of the Statutory Instruments Act, Cap 2A, is void. Honorable Speaker, sir, regrettably, the demolitions reveal a distressing picture of inhumane treatment, with houses being demolished without regard for the well-being of these residents, some of whom have lived in the said land for over 50 years and possess legitimate title deeds issued by the government. Article 27 of the Constitution provides for equality and freedom of discrimination. Whilst the demolition took place in Eastlands, the same seem not to have taken place in places such as Milimani, Kileleshwa land. The demolitions are in contravention of Articles 10 and 43(1)(b) of the Constitution. Additionally, mothers and their children have been left to sleep in the cold without any alternative accommodation or support from the government. This is in contravention of Article 28 of the Constitution, which provides that every person is respected and protected. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development established National Slum Upgrading Project Prevention Policy Paper, VIDE Sessional Paper number 2 of 2016. The policy, which is in operation, is aimed at integrating the existing slums into formal system through provision of infrastructure and low-cost housing. Therefore, the government's directive on the demolition of informal structure is in contravention of the existing policy. The demolitions have been marred by the use of excessive force and are being conducted by the Kenya Defense Forces. The government's purported compensation plan appears to be limited to a few individuals, leaving many rightful landowners in a state of uncertainty and despair. Additionally, the Environmental Management and Coordination Water Quality Regulations 2006 provide that the riparian land includes a minimum of 6 meters and a maximum of 30 meters based on the highest recorded flood level. Sadly, there are many areas where the houses demolished were built 60 meters from the riparian land, including houses in Gomongo area, in Korogocho ward, Mradi 4A in Utali ward, and Hospital ward in Mathare under the Kenya Slum Upgrading Program policy. So, Mr. Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Environment, Forestry and Mining on the following. Number one, could the chairperson provide a report on the constitutionality of the establishment of Nairobi Rivers Commission, including the legality of Kenya Gazette Notice number 14891 of 2nd December 2022, establishing the commission? Roman 2, what steps, if any, will the ministry put in place to wind up the commission if found illegally constituted? Roman 3, under what circumstances are officers of Kenya Defense Forces involved in the demolition exercise? A civilian function not within the purview of KDF. And the last, outline the measures put in place to ensure adherence with the relevant laws while exercising the said directive. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just want to put a rider that Honorable Mwago last week made a statement within the following parameters, but Mr. Speaker, you directed, having been urged by Honorable Mwago, to direct the statement to Ministry of Lands. Yes. Upon research and careful reading, I have found that the ministry with the primary mandate is environment. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, may I urge you to even countermand the earlier directive under your discretion so that both of those statements are directed to the Cabinet Secretary for Environment. Thank you.
Chair, Environment, Forestry and Mining. You are a member, yes, Honorable Member for Kericho. Tell your chairman to bring a statement in the next 2 weeks. And I order that the request by Honorable Mwango also be dealt with by your committee. Honorable Atandi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this is a request for statement regarding circumstances leading to death of Mr. Tom Adala. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 44.2c, I rise to request for a statement from the Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding the death of Mr. Tom Adala, Assistant Director at the National Intelligence Service, NIS. Honorable Speaker, on 5th June 2024, Mr. Tom Adala was found dead at his residence in Kirichwa Villas in the Kilimani area under unclear circumstances. Mr. Adala was a dedicated public servant who had been recently reassigned from his role to the NIS Training Center. It is alleged that the deceased officer took his life due to depression, stress, and humiliation at work. The circumstances surrounding his death call for thorough and transparent investigations to ensure justice for his family and to address any work-related circumstances that may have led to his tragic death so as to secure the integrity of NIS and other national security institutions. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I seek for a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the following. 1, explain the circumstances that led to the death of NIS Assistant Director Mr. Tom Adala on 5th June 2024 at Kirichwa Villas, Kilimani, Nairobi County. 2, clarify whether the Assistant Director could be reassigned other duties within the service and provide details of the legal and policy framework for such reassignment of duties. 3, explain the reasons for the recent reassignment of Mr. Tom Adala from his role as the Assistant Director to the NIS Training Center. 4, provide a report on the veracity of reports that Mr. Tom Adala suffered from stress, humiliation at the NIS because of his ethnicity. 5, provide a report on the status of investigations into the death of Mr. Tom Adala, including a timeline for the completion of the investigations and when the findings would be made public to provide clarity and closure for Mr. Tom Adala's family and friends. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Atandi. Mukunji. Honorable Mukunji.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 43, I wish to make a statement on the launch of 2024-2029 Kenya Young Parliamentarians Association Strategic Plan, launch scheduled for Thursday, 13th June 2024 at the JW Marriott Hotel. Honorable Speaker, as a youth champion and a chairperson of the Kenya Young Parliamentarian Association, I rise this afternoon with great pride and anticipation to inform this esteemed August House about a significant milestone that holds immense importance for our nation's youth and their future prospects. The theme of this momentous event is From Vision to Reality, 20 years and beyond. For the last 2 decades, Kenya Young Parliamentarian Association has been at the forefront of youth empowerment and advocacy, championing the interests of young people across Kenya. The association was established to provide young parliamentarians with a platform to collaborate, influence policy, and address the unique challenges faced by the young, irrespective of their geographical locations, religion, societal class, or political affiliations. Our association's unifying factor has always been the youth. Honorable Speaker, the development of KYPA strategic plan has been a comprehensive and inclusive process. This was made possible by the immense support and extensive collaboration with you, Honorable Speaker, our partners, and the stakeholders, whose insights have been invaluable in shaping the document. The plan outlines our vision and mission and the strategic objectives for the next 5 years, with a specific focus on enhancing members' legislative capacities, broadening public participation in legislative agendas like budget making, youth-relevant topics such as unemployment, climate change, through targeted forums and education campaigns. Developing youth-centric legislative initiatives through propelling creation of youth-related bills, motions, and youth-led legislative actions. And youth capacity building to enhance skills, capacities of young people through mentorship and training programs that will equip the youth to take leadership roles. This event, more than just a launch, it will act as a unifying factor for the youth and the young leaders in the Republic and beyond. By bringing together young members from both National Assembly, the Senate, county assemblies across all political divides, we are demonstrating the power of unity and collaboration in addressing the issues that affect our young population and citizenry at large. The launch event will always provide a platform to celebrate our past achievement, highlight our strategic objectives, and reinforce existing partnership while fostering new ones. Honorable Speaker, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our young members, partners, donors, and stakeholders for their unwavering support and contributions to the KYPA journey. As we look forward to the future, let us continue to work together in driving the youth empowerment agenda and ensuring that the voices of young Kenyans are heard and valued in every sphere of our society. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, it is my distinct pleasure and honor to invite young members to this auspicious occasion as we launch the 2024-2029 strategic plan, alongside His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, who was a founding member of KYPA, and other dignitaries, Honorable Speaker. It is through this vision and support that such a noble initiative exists today. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Mkunji. Honorable Mumina Bonaya, MP Isiolo County. Honorable Member.
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to provision of Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Labor regarding the interdiction of employees by National Health Insurance Fund. Honorable Speaker, Part 6 of the Employment Act elaborately outlines the processes to be followed by an employer in termination of employment, including the rights and obligation of both the employer and the employee. Regrettably, the NHIF has been unfairly dismissing employees in the recent past without following the stipulated procedures laid down in law. On 13th March 2024, the NHIF unfairly interdicted Kalicha Bonaya Guyo of personal number PF 1727, despite submitting a comprehensive show cause letter that exonerated him from the allegations leveled against him. Further, Huka Alake Hokicha of personal number 2310, who was a quality assurance officer at the NHIF, was also interdicted in similar grounds despite demonstrating compliance to the rules and the policies. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I seek a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Labor on the following matters. 1. Processes against its employees, including interdiction and dismissal from employment. 2, could the ministry undertake an inquiry into the cases of interdiction of employees at the NHIF and submit a report to the House on the matter, including compliance with the law on all disciplinary processes undertaken on employees, particularly with respect to Kalicha Bonaya Guyo and Puka Alake Okicha. And lastly, what measures has the ministry put in place to ensure that all public service employees, particularly those serving at the NHIF, are fairly investigated before being interdicted? I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Who is the chair of Labour? Is it Karemba or Alice? Eh? NHIF, Honorable Bonaya, and you sure you misdirected your statement? NHIF is under the purview of health. Did you intend to direct your statement to health or to labor?
The issue has to do with the labor.
Eh?
Employment. Employment goes under labor.
Okay, it's up to you. I thought it was a matter of NHIF should go to health. Majority Leader, is there anybody from the Departmental Committee on Labor? Is that the committee chaired by Karemba? Inform him to bring a response in 2 weeks. Honorable members, allow me to acknowledge in the public gallery students, even if they have gone, they were there. Gaikundo Secondary School from Krueni, Nyeri. Kievaluki Secondary School from Kangundo, Machakos. And Baricho Boys High School from Ndia, Kirinyaga. Even if they have gone, they should feel welcome in the presence of Parliament. Jared Okello. Yes, Order Okello. Yes, Majority Whip, Minority Whip, sorry.
Mr. Speaker, I wanted to seek your indulgence on a matter that is also very important to the House. Mr. Speaker, as you are aware, this month we are dealing with the financial issues, this month of June. And tomorrow we are going to have the CS here to give us highlights on the budget estimates. But after that, Mr. Speaker, we are going to embark on the journey of the finance bill. And I can see that a lot of public participation has been done extensively. Members have been engaged. And those views of members of the public are very important. So, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to seek your indulgence that the report of the committee should come early enough, should be tabled early enough, so that members can use that report to debate. Because, Mr. Speaker, the report might change the bill as it is fundamentally. So sometimes we have come across a situation here where members are debating the bill originally as it came, when the committee has recommended a lot of changes to the bill. So, Mr. Speaker, time is of essence. We are only remaining with 2 weeks, because by 30th of June we should pass that bill. So I was requesting your indulgence that the report must come as soon as possible to the House so that we can internalize it.
Thank you. Yes, Majority Leader. That's a legitimate request.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, let me thank the Minority Whip for that concern and to confirm to the House, Honorable Speaker, and the country that indeed it's true. A lot of public participation has been done by the Finance Committee. And Honorable Speaker, if you can protect me from this group behind here, led by the member for Mwatate.
Mwashako and the member for Garsen.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I was saying, Honorable Speaker, following the extensive public participation that comes to a close today, I am informed by the clerk's office that the Committee on Finance will retreat from tonight and all the way up to Monday. And hopefully they should be able to table a report from next week, Tuesday, when the House sits for the first sittings next week. And Honorable Speaker, it is also true that it is only upon the tabling of that report that members can be able to debate and even have a very clear public discourse on what will be contained in the final bill or what would become the Act of Parliament, Finance Act of 2024. Because, Honorable Speaker, I have seen even governors in funerals, in churches, like the governor, clueless governor for Nyeri, debating the finance bill and saying he will vote no, as if he votes in this house. And you know that governor, Honorable Speaker, even has no idea of what is contained in the finance bill, has not even bothered to follow what the public discourse. And therefore, I would just appeal to even the governor for Nyeri. I know the people sending him are the same characters who are trying to mobilize members of parliament. And I must thank these honorable members of the National Assembly because they have refused to be incited against the finance bill and insisted on waiting for the report of the Finance Committee to read, understand what is now contained in that report, see what amendments come out of the public participation, then we make decisions based on what will come. But we cannot make decisions based on what some funny governor is saying in some church somewhere, Honorable Speaker. And I thank the Honorable Junet for raising that question because it gives us the opportunity also to put into proper perspective the workings and operations of the National Assembly and indeed Parliament. That we never preempt debate to go and debate things out there before they come before us. The bill is rightly before the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee is considering the bill plus the proposed amendments that have come from members of the public and other stakeholders and Kenyans at large. And I do hope the Finance Committee will work with speed to be able to table that report next week, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Jared, yes, Minority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, I just wanted to add my voice to this very vital matter that has been raised by the leader, by the minority whip, Honorable Speaker. Indeed, the issue of the finance bill is so important that we need to get it right this time around. This time around, bearing in mind the public mood out there, it requires that we go through this process in a manner that gives members the time to interrogate the report and the attendant amendments, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the reason why I'm rising is what I've heard from the Honorable Majority Leader say. The Honorable Chungwa has made some remarks or some comments concerning the governor of Nyeri, who purported to be making a decision on this finance bill out there. But he made more serious remarks besides that I was very concerned about, Honorable Speaker, if you indulge me for 1 second. The governor of Nyeri, that is Mutahi Kahiga. I listened to him, I couldn't believe that I'm listening to a leader who has been elected by the people in a county. That he was castigating the government of the Republic of Kenya for extending development projects to Kenyans. That he wondered why the stadium in Bungoma was completed in a record 2 weeks, and yet the one in Nyeri is still pending. And yet the people of Bungoma did not vote as much as people of Nyeri for the government. He also lamented why the sugar debts, the debts for the sugarcane farmers was being waived. And yet sugarcane farmers did not vote for this government, Honorable Speaker. We must actually in one accord say without any equivocation that the government of the Republic of Kenya belongs to all Kenyans. And all Kenyans pay taxes. All Kenyans pay taxes. Be they in Bungoma, Kakamega, Siaya, where I come from, or Nyeri. They are all Kenyans. They are all Kenyans. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, time has come now. Some of us have got no business, by the way, with the differences in UDA. We perceived, I don't know. Whatever issues that are in UDA don't concern us. But you cannot stand on a public platform and be seen to be discriminating against a section of Kenyans on account of how they voted in the last elections. So I said while I was in CIA yesterday, Juzi, that governor must be called to order. And if for sure he's pursuing some agenda, which we don't know, then that agenda is contrary to the national interest, Honorable Speaker, and the Constitution, of course. So I want to stop at that for the time being. In the fullness of time, I will be coming back with a more comprehensive action. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. I don't want to escalate that. Majority Leader, you should also inform that governor that the sugar industry's debt write-off was sanctioned by this House. It was not an executive order out there. It was sanctioned by the representative of the people, including MPs from his county. Yes, Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, I agree with you that indeed the debt waiver for sugarcane farmers was never sanctioned by the executive. It is this House. And therefore what the governor for Nyeri was doing was also casting aspersions on our mandate, our constitutional mandate, as the House that did approve that waiver. And more importantly, Honorable Speaker, you know, Honorable Speaker, as the leader of minority says, all Kenyans are taxpayers. And once elected, Honorable Speaker, even myself in my own constituency that's quite cosmopolitan, but the bulk of my constituents speak the Kikuyu language. But I know there is a good number of constituents in Kikuyu who do not understand my native language. And Honorable Speaker, whether we pride ourselves as a community that perceives itself to be the most endowed with wealth, whether we lie to ourselves today that we are the most populous, even with our one wife and one man. And I know the Honorable Junet and his community in Mandera have one man, 4 wives, minimum 7 children. I have 2 to 4 children, Honorable Speaker. We must bear in mind that as leaders, we are leading a nation of many communities, Honorable Speaker. Communities, whether we perceive them as taxpayers or not, they contribute to our national well-being. Honorable Speaker, when I listened to the governor for Nyeri saying that the people of Nyeri never took even a piece of the sugarcane whose debt is being waived, Honorable Speaker, and saying that the people of Bungoma never voted as much as the people of Nyeri voted. You know, it's so embarrassing, Honorable Speaker, that the governor of Nyeri does not even know that the people of Bungoma voted for Kenya Kwanza an equal amount of votes as the people of Nyeri voted for the Kenya Kwanza government. The difference between the votes of in Kenya Kwanza between Bungoma and Nyeri counties does not exceed probably 20,000, 30,000. They are all in the 200s plus. And Honorable Speaker, when a government is elected, it is never elected to serve those who voted for them. How do I know as a member of parliament in Kikuyu who voted for me, who did not vote for me? And Honorable Speaker, that is why at times we had difficulty, many of us, in engaging in a shareholder debate and shareholder discourse in terms of how we manage our government, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, let me just say, I don't know whether we are not at liberty to discuss the conduct of the governor for Nyeri in this House without a substantive motion. But I would want to appeal to the governor of Nyeri, whether you are speaking for yourself, whether you have been sent to say those things by somebody, irrespective of what position that person holds in government or in Kenya, please respect other communities. Please appreciate that sugarcane farmers in Kenya deserve debt waiver just like coffee farmers deserve the coffee waiver that we have given them in this budget and in previous budgets, Honorable Speaker. Those of us who come from the sugar belt, and Honorable Speaker, you know, when you listen to that governor speaking about the sugar belt and imagining that Bungoma County is the entire sugar belt in Western Kenya, he does not know even the sugar companies that were to benefit from that debt waiver. 90% of them are in Nyanza, not in Western Kenya. Only 2 sugar companies, Mumias and Zoia, are in Western Kenya. The bulk of these other companies, whether it's Chemelil, Muhoroni, Stony Sugar, they are in Nyanza, and the people of Nyanza deserve. They deserve to benefit from taxpayers' money, Honorable Speaker, just like the people of Kiambu deserve to benefit from the coffee debt waiver. The people of Nyeri, the people of Kirinyaga deserve. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, let us as leaders, and that's why, Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, I said here last week, and I know what I said here when I quoted a quote, saying that you cannot build a kingdom when you are fixated with attention from the village. I know there are those who took it out of context to try and mobilize a hate campaign. But I call on us as members of the National Assembly to put the nation ahead of our communities, to put the nation ahead of our parochial self-interest, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, as I condemn the actions and the words of the governor for Nyeri, Speaker, and I will indeed be writing to him to officially inform him some of these things. Been said here in writing for his record there, so that as he has exits office, he may travel a bit around the country, just tanga a bit and get in a bit of political tourism to understand other people around the country. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to support what the Majority Leader is saying. Because personally, I was there when we were doing campaigns in Bungoma with the President. And even the time...
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want also to agree with the leader of minority on what he has said. And Honorable Speaker, if you look at our Constitution, anybody who engages in utterances that are against national values, that are against the national interest, anybody who makes utterances that appear to divide this country along how people voted, the tribal lines, those are grounds for impeachment, Honorable Speaker. I want to make it clear here, Honorable Speaker, that the utterances by the governor of Nyeri on what he said is clearly true, that that man is not fit to hold office, and I want to call upon ESTC to begin the process of removing him from office, because every Kenyan requires development. Wherever you come from in this country is not a criminal offense. the tribe that you are is not a criminal offense, and the governor for Nyeri is not fit to hold public office, and the grounds for removing him should begin immediately today. They even ought to have begun yesterday, Honorable Speaker. I support.
Members, I don't want us to escalate this. I want us to... Yes, Farah Malim, I see you...
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Agitated.
I want to support the majority leader in his statements. Mr. Speaker, me and you have been around for the longest. And you remember how the problems in the DRC started when Mobutu Sese Seko was the president. He tried to victimize a small minority who are pastoralists called Banyamulenge. Banyamulenge. And there were hardly 1 million of them in a nation of over 60 million. They took up arms because nobody would accept to be a second-class citizen in his own country. DRC has never seen peace since then. It doesn't matter how big your numbers are. If the smallest community in Kenya decides I'm having a road deal and I'm going to destroy this country, they have the capacity to do it. Let us keep our unity as a nation. We have the most beautiful country in the world. The diversity is our strength. It's not supposed to be our weakness. When a very senior government official says all politics is local, what are you talking about? And you want to be the president of this country? Who is going to allow you to be the president of this country? Because you're basically saying that I will only take care of my small village up there. Honorable Ichungwa, you have done us proud, and many like you. Let us keep the unity of this country for God's sake and not listen. And the National Cohesion and Integration Commission should be doing its job. It should be doing its job very well. We went close to having a collapsed state, Mr. Speaker, in 2007. Me and you were in the parliament that time. 2008. We avoided that calamity and complete dissolution of the Kenya government because many people came from all over the world to come and assist us. We have to learn from the mistakes we made in the past and never try and do it again. We've seen what happened in Rwanda. They tried to eliminate completely a small minority of Tutsis who are 15%. But they came back and they're ruling that country for 30 years and they'll rule for another 50 years. Nobody gives you a guarantee because you have the numbers that you're going to take over a country. No. Let us protect our unity.
Honorable members will stop here. I want to laud the majority and minority leaders for displaying patriotic thinking, and members out there. Order. Order, Kasheri. Kasheri, take your seat. Members out there, it is not a Nyeri problem, it's an individual. And Mukami has said as much. Members out there, whether you're a governor or whoever you are, members who are displaying grandiose paranoia in the conduct of their public affairs will be called to order. They will be called to order, and this House has unlimited authority through your committees to summon any such errant characters, whoever they are, and tell them that as a House of the representatives of the people of Kenya, you will not sit and watch any reckless conduct that can bring disorder in this country. And I salute you, majority and minority leaders. Lead the House in the manner you have shown and call out anybody who is errant in their conduct. Thank you. Jared?
I thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And whereas you have closed that debate, I would want to take a tangent from what both the majority and minority leaders have talked about, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we have lately seen discordant voices, especially emanating from the presidency. And the presidency is composed of the president, the deputy president, the cabinet, and those others in that chain, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, whereas I would be least concerned about what happens in Kenya Kwanza, but when these matters have potential to create disunity in our country, then I will be very much concerned, Honorable Speaker. In Bungoma, where you played a very good host to the most successful Madaraka Days ever in this country, I did realize, Honorable Speaker, that 40 minutes later, when the president had sat down, the deputy president showed up. And the president of the Republic of Kenya had to welcome his deputy, which is totally a break from tradition, Honorable Speaker. On Sunday, during an event of the Akorino brothers in Nakuru, the deputy president arrived 1 hour after the president had sat down. And just next to that president was his seat, which was being warmed by the Minister for Water and Irrigation, my friend Zachary Njeru. And when he showed up, he started, castigating the weather. He started castigating his means of transportation and many other things, Honorable Speaker. Yesterday, to my dismay, holding his own bag, getting into the aircraft, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this House appropriates and budgets for travels of the Deputy President, Honorable Speaker. And at no given time have we ever envisaged a situation where he takes a commercial flight. But if he takes solace out of commercial flights, then it is upon and incumbent upon this House to reduce his travels by 95%, because we know what is being charged by commercial flights and the rates that are being charged by chartered flights, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, whereas this government is barely 2 years in office, we have listened to quite disdainful statements emanating from the office of the Deputy President. And I want to ask you, Honorable Speaker, that the majority leader here present to shed more light over these issues, because they touch on us as the consumers of government services, Honorable Speaker. Whereas a lot has already been spoken about regarding sugar and the loans that were offset by the government, Honorable Speaker. Just yesterday, in a cabinet meeting, 6 billion shillings owed by coffee farmers was cancelled by the cabinet, Honorable Speaker. And there is no fury about it. But when the same government cancels debts owed by government-owned sugar mills, then it becomes a matter of concern by one particular governor of Nyeri, Honorable Speaker, who has since abrogated himself the role of a spokesperson of somebody else, Honorable Speaker. You know, I've always believed that governors are so busy.
Your point.
I've always believed, Honorable Speaker, that governors are too busy to even indulge in issues holding brief for others, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, these are fundamental, germane, and salient issues that, left unchecked, have the potential to create bigger problems for this country that we all love. So I implore upon my very good friend, Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, the MP for Kikuyu, to shed more light on these matters. Otherwise, if there is a real problem that the Deputy President is suffering, that as a House we can help him solve, then this is the right platform. But if he's creating, disunity and playing victim at the same time, so that a particular section of the government would go a different way, then we want to know and call him to order. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity.
Yes, member for Kahawa.
Mr. Speaker, Norwaraka. Mr. Speaker, in as much as this is music to my ear, But we are slowly digressing from the business of the House. I have heard names being made here. And Mr. Speaker, you are the biggest advocate of protection that persons must not be named here adversely without a substantive motion. That side has a majority, supermajority, so they say. There is nothing that stops them from dragging that Gachiethe here so that they can impeach him. They can impeach him so easily by bringing him here and vote against him. So why should we divert from business of this House and enter into some charade and hypocrisy and politics instead of doing business which is before us? We know what you people are saying. We know the politics you are doing. But we also have our politics. We don't want to turn this place into a political arena. We know that this matter has been choreographed. Who doesn't know that?
Order, Honorable Kajwang. Order. Yes, that is Atandi.
Honorable Speaker, I didn't want to enter into this conversation, but Honorable Speaker, let the truth be said. The governor of Nyeri did not say anything out of this world. The governor of Nyeri was simply saying that there is no equity in sharing of national cake, and that's a fact. That when you look at the budget we have just passed here, so many sections of this country are not receiving projects. And the governor of Nyeri, as a leader elected by Nyeri residents, must fight for the welfare of Nyeri residents. So, Honorable Speaker, I think let us stem this discussion. The national cake is not being shared equitably. Most parts of this country are not receiving resources. And I want to support him. Let us not be a government that preaches unity because it is favoring us. Because if there is chaos, people who are stealing will not steal. You don't steal in chaos. You steal when there's unity. So we don't want this conversation about unity because we need unity and peace so that we can be able to steal in peace. Let us be genuine about unity. If you're talking about unity, let it be about genuine unity. You can't tell me that you are preaching unity here, but there's no development that is coming to my area. You can't tell me you want Kenyans to be united because the preaching you are giving us is for your good. So the Nyeri governor should not be discussed here, Honorable Speaker, unfairly. And I agree with him. The government must ensure equity in sharing of national cake so that all Kenyans can be happy and be peaceful and be united. You cannot be united in statements, in empty statements. Let us be united. Let us have real unity. Real unity is about how many resources, how much money is going to Siaya, vis-a-vis how much money is going to Kiambu. How much money is going to Washington, vis-a-vis how much money is going to Kisumu. That is the unity that I want to hear about, not unity, empty statements about unity. I support the Nyeri governor. Thank you.
Yes, Osoro. Yes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, what is happening today, or in the recent past, started like a joke from what many considered as mere statements by very top leaders of this country. It started from statements like, the shareholders claiming that there are some communities that really did not contribute to the formation of this government, calling other people shareholders and other people traitors, and people kept quiet. But, Honorable Speaker, if this House keeps quiet, the trend this country is taking will take us back to 2007, 2008, if we are not careful. Because it started from one particular leader, then it went down to what we'll call his supporters, or he recruited some speakers or a mouthpiece to speak on his behalf. And the recent utterances, Honorable Speaker, really shocked the nation, where somebody is questioning on the division of the national cake, how it should actually be shared, that it should be shared on how people voted. I mean, this is shocking. What he did say is that if we go by that formula that he was proposing, then he should also propose that a certain section of people or a region should then not pay taxes. they should also not contribute to the national cake in terms of paying of taxes. That is exactly what the governor of Nyeri meant. And that is extremely selfish, being extremely selfish. But more important, Honorable Speaker, to what Honorable Okello has raised, yesterday was a bit embarrassing. This House passed last year's budget, 2023-2024, and they allocated funds to every arm of government. The executive got their vote, and in particular, the presidency got a budget to help them run their affairs. Every member of this House and even members of public know very well that each office is well equipped with a team of people, with a team that helps people that move around, the executive, members of the executive to move around, like His Excellency the Deputy President. It was a shame, Honorable Speaker, to see His Excellency the Deputy President moving around, carrying a bag, in as much as one wants to pull some PR stunts, and I say this, Honorable Speaker, with tremendous respect. We should question, it is about time we question the members of staff that work with His Excellency the Deputy President. Where were they when he was carrying the bag? Where were they when they were taking pictures and some of them, of course, standing behind him as he pulled the bag, which looked very empty, Honorable Speaker. And I think it must have been bought from the airport, Honorable Speaker. Because in as much as we appreciate the fact that...
Order, Honorable Soro. I think what Jared Okello asked was legitimate. But let's not digress into discussing the conduct of the person, of the Deputy President. Jared Okello asked whether, and I saw it in the reason I allowed him to ask that, seek that statement from the majority leader, is that the person of the Deputy President of this country is a responsibility of everybody. His movement to any part of the country has security implications. How he travels, who he travels with, where he goes, has security implications. So I saw it in the context that it is not a matter that is normal to see our Deputy President towing a bag on the airside to the aircraft, because you have appropriated resources to facilitate the work of the office of the presidency. That is how I understood Okello's concern. And Okello was seeking the majority leader to assure the country whether this is something subnormal or this is something that is near normal, or somebody is saying is the new normal, but in security terms, it is not normal. And that's what I expect the majority leader to tell this House. So anybody who seeks to speak to this can only confine yourself within that context. If you start discussing the personal conduct of the Deputy President, I will not allow you. Yes, KJ. What's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, I was seeking to find out if the leader, the whip is in order, and you have guided so well, Mr. Speaker, on the points that we have to confine ourselves into. But the whip was also deviating into even taking a mickey on very serious professions, Mr. Speaker. He's talking about the Deputy Speaker taking a PR show to the runway. And I would like for the whip to understand that PR as a practice in itself is a very respectable profession. But most importantly, you also got to understand, Mr. Speaker, and I have to put this straight, that the Deputy President is on record saying that he is a product of the drama festival. He has acted on stage, in plays, even at the University of Nairobi, Mr. Speaker. So if he decides to put up a play, it is not the place of the whip to call him out on putting up a PR show, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Deputy President is very serious about supporting the talents in this country. Only a few days ago, Mr. Speaker, the Deputy President was there for the launch of the Bahati show, Mr. Speaker. We might have had a continuation of the same show on the side, on the runway of at JKI, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I was seeking to find out if the whip is in order to take a mickey at very serious professions, the profession of PR and public relations, the profession of actors, and even the people who chase clout for content, Mr. Speaker, for TikTok, are also doing a serious job, Mr. Speaker. So I would want you to find the whip out of order totally, Mr. Speaker, for deviating from the issues as you directed. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Order, honorable members, honorable KJ. The act of a deputy president towing a travel bag on a runway is not a display of talent. And it cannot be. Yes, Osoro, wind up.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand guided, and I'll not delve into the conduct of His Excellency Deputy President. But Honorable Speaker, nothing stops any member of this House from bringing the conduct of His Excellency Deputy President, especially when it's a shame to the country, Honorable Speaker. But if it's a reality show, as Honorable KJ has said, then I think it's important for us to appreciate him and say reality shows pay, and the young people have also shown that clearly reality shows are paying. And in fact, people are saying even TikTok pays. And the very first time I saw that video, Honorable Speaker, His Excellency Deputy President towing the bag was actually on TikTok.
Honorable members, reduce your consultations. Wind up.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. So generally, Honorable Speaker, what I'm saying is that members, any public officer, any public servant, Honorable Speaker, right from the top, His Excellency the President, downwards, to all those people that have been given the privilege to serve in this country, should be careful on the utterances they make and their conduct in public. And it's at this point sometimes, Honorable Speaker, that we ask whether clearly NCIC is operational. Because at this point, we should be seeing the Governor for Nyeri being summoned and questioned for his utterances against a certain community and profiling some communities as lesser human beings, Honorable Speaker. And we should also be seeing, the people raising questions on Chapter 6 of the conduct of even some members, senior members of the executive, on how they carry themselves in public. But to also applaud the Deputy President, Honorable Speaker, and appreciate him for deciding to spend less, and use a commercial flight to Mombasa. That is now what we want. That is how we move around. That he is able now to pay.
Zamzam, wind up.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika. Na mimi nataka nielezee wabunge wenzangu mambo yanayotendeka si mambo ya kucheka. Mheshimiwa Spika, sisi tunajua majukumu ya naibu wa rais. Na hata kama leo pengine Mheshimiwa Spika wewe pia ungefanywa hivyo, tungesimama hapa kuweza kukutetea, kwa sababu kuna bajeti ambayo imewekwa na tumemwona mara kadhaa akilalamika kuwa ndege imemwacha, ameambiwa sijui kuna hivi na vile. Kwa hiyo kuna shida katika taifa letu, na mimi naomba ikiwezekana Mheshimiwa Rais na Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais waweze kukaa chini, haya matatizo yaishe, kwa sababu Kenya ni yetu sisi sote. Na hata alivyoongea yule governor wa kule Nyeri, amezungumza makosa, kwa sababu ugavi wa rasilimali unafaa uende sawa katika taifa nzima, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na kama alikuwa anataka kutetea pengine naibu wa rais, asingetumia matamshi yale, kwa sababu yanazidi kuleta sintofahamu. Kama ile mashini ya miwa kule ilikuwa ni haki wao kupewa fidia kuweza kuregesha ule mtambo wa miwa, Mheshimiwa Spika. Lakini kwa yote ile pia sisi kumuona katika ndege ambao ni abiria wa kawaida bila hata security, Mheshimiwa Spika, ilikuwa inatatiza ile image ya taifa la Kenya, Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hiyo mimi naomba, na nimeona hata wabunge katika mikutano wakizungumza, wakirusha cheche za maneno. Wakati huu Wakenya wana matatizo, bidhaa zinapanda juu. Inafaa wakati huu tuwe tunaongea juu ya finance bill, Mheshimiwa Spika, lakini Tetesi ambazo zinakuja katika taifa hili wakati huu ni vipi deputy president anatembea, naibu wa rais ametembea na begi, sijui imekuwa vipi. Kama kuna matatizo, mimi naomba hasa wale ambao wako upande wa mrengo ule, sisi tulizoea matatizo yetu, manake tulipigwa mkatucheka na sasa kimewaramba. Lakini yote 9 muweze kukaa chini, muweze kutatua matatizo yenu. Hata mkimshika leo spika wa bunge hili, kwa vile yuko mrengo ule, nione mtu anamletea na ile haki zake za kimsingi anapokonywa, kama mama Zamza, mtasimama nitazungumza, kwa sababu akipatikana yeye leo, kesho mwingine atafanziwa hivyo. Tumeona hata kule kwa rais aliyostaafu kumetokea pia tetesi. Mambo haya yanafaa yakae chini, kila mmoja apate haki yake, na tuangalie sasa maslahi ya Wakenya. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Mkunji.
Honorable Speaker, I want to weigh on this issue, and I want to be very careful. Honorable Speaker, almost everybody who is speaking on this issue is my senior in politics and my senior in many of the things that we are doing. But Honorable Speaker, I feel that I need to put in a perspective of a newcomer in politics of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, while I really don't know how this country will be in a few years, I feel like we are changing tune and we are coming out in a way that we can even mess our democracy. Honorable Speaker, I want to call upon our senior leaders to embrace speaking in the rooms, and then they come out to tell us in very clear terms what is happening and what is going in the country, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I was also very worried when I saw the Deputy President carrying his own bag. And I felt sad because if I was there, I could have carried for him the bag. Was
he carrying or towing?
He was carrying the bag, Honorable Speaker, and it looked like a bag that wouldn't fit even in the carrier side of the plane. And Honorable Speaker, I feel this is something that the majority leader must clarify to this House. Why would we have the Deputy President carrying a bag in a commercial flight? And Honorable Speaker, I also feel we are getting into the conversation of how to save on costs. And we need to embrace what the Deputy President has brought about, that we should be able to travel together with our colleagues who are not senior members of our society. But Honorable Speaker, we have bigger problems to think about. And Honorable Speaker, I want to say that in our community, Embu, right now we are reeling with a lot of poverty because of the ban of Mogoka, Honorable Speaker. And I feel this House, together with these members, are not doing enough to help us and listen to both sides of the divide so that my people don't die because of poverty, Honorable Speaker, when they were making a living out of this thing. Honorable Speaker, this is serious, and I want to say that we have to know how our people make money and not ignore the fact that they might even mess up their lifestyles. Honorable Speaker, while I'm finishing, I also want to say that reading the standing orders, I'm happy with your guidance that we should not, without a substantive motion, speak about characters of our senior leaders, especially leaders in the caliber of the Deputy President and the President. So we are still learning on how to handle these things, but I would really urge, even us here as members of Parliament, especially from this government side, we need to even have a kamukunji and speak and guide our leaders if they are not guiding us right. And that will really help us as we move on. And I hope the majority leader has heard me. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Junet? Yes.
Mr. Speaker, this matter that has been raised by Honorable Jared is really a matter of national importance, because we are dealing with the offices of the President and the Deputy President. The presidency. Office of the Presidency is saying, Wanjala, the MP for Budalangi. Mr. Speaker, yesterday I watched in the social media the Deputy President carrying a bag in the streets of Jomo Kenyatta. What struck me, Mr. Speaker, in that episode, as somebody who has traveled a lot, is the kind of bag the Deputy President was carrying. That one really struck me. That kind of bag is not for the deputy president. That bag is for something else. Another thing that struck me in that episode is what was the content of that bag, because the deputy president could not even give it to his bodyguard. He had to hold it himself in person, Mr. Speaker. What could have contained in that bag, Mr. Speaker? I don't know whether a committee of this parliament can get to know for us. What is the content of that bag that you cannot even trust with Ngunjiri Wambugu was behind him, that he held for me this bag, Mr. Speaker? I don't know whether Mr. Speaker, those are the two things that struck me in yesterday's episode, political. But having said that, Mr. Speaker, why are we discussing this matter here? The only place that can hold the presidency accountable is Parliament, Mr. Speaker. They are held accountable here, constitutionally. You know, Mr. Speaker, you can hold somebody accountable in the sense that if it is your responsibility to dismiss him from the job he has, then you are the only one who can hold him accountable. It is a clear provision in the Constitution that this is the house that can remove anybody who occupies those offices, Mr. Speaker, and you are a senior lawyer. Mr. Speaker, if what I am seeing, or this trend I am seeing continues, you know very well, Mr. Speaker, the Constitution says a state officer must bring honor, dignity, and respect to the office he's holding. Mr. Speaker, you cannot demean the office you are holding and you expect to attract dignity and respect. Mr. Speaker, let's call a spade a spade. If you want to politic, that is fine. If you want to go and talk in a church, in a public burial place, that is fine. But not to the extent of demeaning the office of the deputy president. Even the office of member of parliament cannot be demeaned, Mr. Speaker. When some of our colleagues misbehave, we take offense. When some of our colleagues here go to burials and behave in a manner that is unbecoming, a manner that a member of parliament should not behave, we take offense. We say, no, we talk to them, don't behave that way. As a whip, I guide them in my office. You can't behave like this. I don't know whether the executive has a whip. The whip of the executive now must come in. I don't know whether it is the majority leader who is the whip of the executive. But a majority leader, if somebody is not interested in any job, there are Kenyans who are interested in that job. Why don't you do something? We are here to execute it. There are many Kenyans who can perform. Men and women. And many Kenyans, men and women of high standard and caliber, including, no, I don't qualify because I'm not from Kenya Kwanza. But anybody else is qualified. Mr. Speaker, you know, Mr. Speaker, the deputy presidency is a very, very critical office. In our neighboring country, the president today who's running that country was a deputy president. She was a deputy president of President Magufuli. And today she's a president of the Republic of Tanzania. So that tells you how important that office. That is not the kind of office that can be occupied by somebody who's pulling a trolley in the corridors of Jomo Kenyatta Airport. It's not possible. So, Mr. Speaker, why we are talking as a parliament, because it is here that we discuss matters of concern to the people. And surely, Deputy President pulling a trolley is of matters of concern to the public. The discussion here is, why did he use the Kenya Airways, the public transport? That is neither here nor there. The issue is pulling a trolley. The issue here is, are we as a country having the presidency, giving the presidency the kind of respect that it deserves, Mr. Speaker? And I'm not absolving blame from anybody. Anybody who has not done his work, he can be held accountable. But, Mr. Speaker, let me conclude by saying this. Mr. Speaker, people take these offices casually. And somebody thinks that if I become a deputy president, I cannot be held accountable by anybody. A member of parliament will hold you accountable. And the Constitution has given him that provision to hold you accountable. Any member of parliament, by the way, it doesn't matter whether you're Kenya Kwanza or Azimio, any member of parliament can hold you accountable for actions and anything that you speak. I don't want to digress because the speaker has told, let's concentrate on the context. But some of the utterances even are wanting. So, Mr. Speaker, personally as a member of parliament, And you know, some of us, we might not have become deputy presidents, or we may not occupy high offices, but now we are senior members of the country, because some of those people, we have served more terms of parliament than them. They know that. I have been in this parliament more than those people. They know themselves. I don't want to mention names. I am now serving the third term, and people came here one term and sijui jua ilitoka wapi kamulika hawa sasa hawa ni namna hiyo tu, na sisi bado tumebaki tu kama kuku hapa ndani ya town. So Mr. Speaker, I want to say this, that let us respect the offices we are holding. If you have grievances, deal with your grievances in a manner that befits the office you are holding, and don't bring shame to the country. Don't bring shame to our country. And when you want to divide the country and you want to separate people, nobody will accept that. Nobody will allow that. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I want to say, please, for those people who are very close friends of our friend, please buy him another bag. That bag cannot go on. If next trip, I want to see a better bag. KJ, please. Thank you very much.
Majority Leader, you've heard the concerns of members. Wanjala, what is it? I've given the Majority Leader an opportunity to tell the House the concerns of members, and I want to repeat. Sit down, Wanjala. The conduct of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya is not under discussion here. The issue raised by Jared Okello was very clear. The office of the Deputy President, the whole of the office, as I think Junetta summarized it very well. Now we want the leader of government business in the House, the Majority Leader, to assure the House and the country that the dignity of the office of the Deputy President is not at stake, and more importantly, that the Deputy President is provided with resources to discharge his duties and responsibilities in a manner that brings honor and dignity to the office. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, allow me to, as you have guided, restrict myself to the issues that were raised by the Honorable Jared Okello, without delving much into the issues of whether this was a reality TV show or acting and drama. Honorable Speaker, to confirm to the House and to the country that both the President, the Deputy President, and also the Prime Cabinet Secretary, all Cabinet Secretaries, and indeed, even members of Parliament, are well and adequately provided for in terms of budgetary allocations, including budgetary allocations for travel and staffing in all our respective offices. And Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Jared Okello will bear me witness that only last week on Thursday, Honorable Speaker, we did pass the supplementary appropriations bill, and also we are in the process now of finalizing with the appropriations bill of the 2024-2025 financial year. And if any Kenyan looks into the books of accounts of the national government, you will realize that the office of the Deputy President is very well resourced. And indeed, Honorable Speaker, maybe it's good to just put it into perspective, because the Honorable Jared Okello has raised the issue. And there are issues that touch on, as you have guided, on the budget of the office of the Deputy President or the presidency, issues that touch on security of the person of the Deputy President and that of the President. And also, Honorable Speaker, what the Honorable Junet has referred to as the honor and dignity that comes with the offices that we all hold, not just the President and Deputy President, but even us as members of Parliament. And Honorable Speaker, in confirming that there are adequate resources, including resources for air transportation, Honorable Speaker, both for fixed airwing, aircraft, for helicopters, and even if the Deputy President opted to travel by sea, there are adequate resources for him to travel by sea, by SGR, or even by coast bus to any other bus, Honorable Speaker. And let me also say, Honorable Speaker, it is not unusual because I don't know why anybody would think it's unusual for the Deputy President to travel with our national carrier, Kenya Airways. Honorable Speaker, I have witnessed holders of that office in the person of William Ruto, our current president, use not just Kenya Airways. In fact, last week when he traveled to South Korea, he took a commercial airliner to South Korea to and fro. The only difference is that he never posed for any photograph anywhere. I have also witnessed when he was deputy president, William Ruto traveled not just on Kenya Airways, but used jumbo jets to Mombasa, to Eldoret. He has used Skyward and Renegade, and the other, not 540, there's another airline that Safari Link to Masai Mara. And therefore, it is not unusual. I think the only unusual thing that happened yesterday, Honorable Speaker, and maybe that may have gotten the attention of the Honorable Jared Okello, was the Deputy President towing a bag, a new bag, brand new bag, as the Honorable Junet says, that could not even fit into the compartments in the aeroplane, towing the bag and posing for a photograph. But unfortunately, I think, Honorable Speaker, on matters touching on security, the Deputy President was also very well secured yesterday, and I can confirm that to the country. He had with him not less than 19 bodyguards, 14 of whom he was to travel with on that aircraft. Therefore, he had no problems with people to carry his bags. Let nobody think that the Deputy President had problems on people to carry his bags. He had not less than 3 photographers to take the photographs, Honorable Speaker.
Majority. Yes, Junet, what's the point of order?
Mr. Speaker, I wish to ask the majority leader whether he's correctly saying that a plane that was to carry 60 people, 14 were supposed to be bodyguards of the Deputy President in that plane. Can you tell the Parliament in broad daylight that 14 were members of his security detail out of 60 members, a third of the plane, and cameramen and the other things?
Honorable Speaker, the information I have, the Deputy President did not just appear for the photograph. The Deputy President was driven to the airside with his full security detail, including the presidential guards that guard him from the Wrecker Squad. They were there with him. There were adequate, not less than 14 officers traveling with him on that plane, including photographers, security men, bloggers, protocol people, including the former MP for Nyeri, who I hear is a chief blogger in that office now, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I was just making the point that the Deputy President was not short of staff and personnel to carry his bags, including photographers who are taking those photos, Honorable Speaker, and therefore his security was not in question at all. True, Honorable Speaker, in terms of the dignity and honor that comes with that office, Honorable Speaker, I think the Deputy President had this flight paid for by the government of Kenya using taxpayers' money. And to give his office the honor and dignity, those who are keen observers did observe he was seated on seat 1A of that flight. The chief blogger in his office, the former member for Nyeri, was seated on seat 2A. That's in the business class, Honorable Speaker. And others, including his security officers, I think 2 are seated in the business class with him, and many others were seated in the economic compartment. And therefore, let me assure the country that the Deputy President within that flight was very safe. There is nothing unusual in him taking commercial flights. Indeed, many of you who attended the National Prayer Breakfast will remember His Excellency the President affirming that out of the austerity measures that government has instituted and which we effected through the Supplementary Appropriations Bill, that his office, that of the Deputy President, and that of the Prime Cabinet Secretary had cut their budgets substantially. And therefore, I only want to encourage the president, the prime cabinet secretary, the deputy president, when they travel, to bear in mind those austerity measures, but at least to reduce the delegations, if not anything. I am certain nothing would happen to you when you are up there in the skies. Therefore, 1 or 2 security officers might be adequate. You do not need 3 or 4 photographers to travel with you on that plane. You can send some by SGR or others to drive to Mombasa. Therefore, I want to encourage all our government officers to bear in mind that we are in a tough situation, and austerity measures that government has instituted, including Parliament, Honorable Speaker. I was pleasantly surprised the other day when I saw members of Parliament carpooling to travel to Naivasha because they thought it was easier to hold their meeting where they were holding and carpool. And Honorable Speaker, this should be the spirit, Honorable Speaker, but also, Honorable Speaker, more importantly, because I have seen these questions being raised, especially by bloggers, is the Deputy President entitled to use of military aircraft? Honorable Speaker, I did engage the Cabinet Secretary for Defense, and indeed I have asked, Honorable Speaker, so that we may put this matter to rest, I will be writing to the Cabinet Secretary for Defense to appear before this House in plenary. That only the President and the First Lady, the President as Commander-in-Chief, since we don't have a Deputy Commander-in-Chief, has access to military aircraft. The Deputy President has a police aircraft designated for his use, which currently is under maintenance, and the Cabinet Secretary tells me in the next few weeks they will have finalized with its maintenance, because it is not just a police aircraft that is maintained by government, but whenever the Deputy President is flying that aircraft for his safety and security, bearing in mind the office he holds, is usually flown and operated by Kenya Air Force pilots and servicemen, Honorable Speaker, so that we can assure the Deputy President's safety, assure the country of the Deputy President's safety. Honorable Speaker, when the Kenya Kwanza government took over, I am also informed, Honorable Speaker, our defense forces would occasionally allow senior government officers to use their aircrafts at times on request. And ordinarily, government policy is when any senior government officer like the Deputy President or the Prime Cabinet Secretary intends to use a military aircraft, because these aircraft are designated for operational work by the military, to request for use of a particular aircraft, whether it's a helicopter or a Dash 8 or a fixed-wing aircraft, through the office of the head of public service, Felix Kosgei. Honorable Speaker, let me put it on record, because I have checked those facts. The day that the Honorable Okello refers to on Madaraka Day, the office of the Deputy President never because I would not know why he decided to get late. Because either way, you could also choose, like the Honorable Speaker chose, to go and spend the night in Bungoma or in Kisumu and be near the function, or wake up early like many of us did to travel. The same with the incident that the Honorable Jared Okello speaks to this Sunday in Nakuru at the Akorino Church. It is true, the Deputy President arrived over an hour later than the president. The president was magnanimous and courteous enough to be able to receive his deputy. And, Honorable Speaker, I can also confirm, because I was to join you in Laikipia, we left Nairobi at exactly the same time with the deputy president at about 10:44 a.m. when his chopper was lifting from his current residence. Honorable, we traveled together. There was a slight challenge with the weather, I can confirm, Honorable Speaker, around Mount Longonot. And we were able to maneuver through within a period that did not exceed 5 minutes. As to why the deputy president chose to tell the country that he had transport and weather challenges, Honorable Speaker, on the pulpit in church, again, I would not be able to be in a position to tell why the person serving in the office of a deputy president would choose to tell what is not true while standing at a pulpit in a church, Honorable Speaker. And since, Honorable Speaker, you have guided, we are not here to discuss the conduct of any person. I do not want to dwell into that. But to assure the country that both the president, the deputy president, the office of the prime cabinet secretary, from what the Minister for Defense has informed me, may in writing ask for use of military aircraft. And Honorable Speaker, the Defense Cabinet Secretary did inform me that for the last 1 year, the aircraft that were being used by the Deputy President, the Prime Cabinet Secretary's office, and other senior government officers occasioned an expenditure of 500 million shillings, 500 million shillings to KDF. KDF has written to the various offices, and the office of the Deputy President has written back declining to share in the costs of the wear and tear and fuel of these aircraft. And that is why the Kenya Defense Forces and the Ministry of Defense made a policy decision that should any officer want to use military aircraft, it must be on request, since all these offices have resources appropriated to them for air travel. Therefore, if you use a Kenya Defense aircraft for fuel, for wear and tear, you pay for it from the budget in your office. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, should cry foul that they have not been allowed to use military aircraft. Only the President, as Commander-in-Chief, has unfettered access to use of military aircraft, but that aircraft that is designated from the Kenya Police, that is under maintenance, and I must insist, that maintenance, Honorable Speaker, you've seen what has happened in our neighboring country and our compatriots in Malawi, and may the Lord rest the soul of the Vice President of Malawi and the people who perished in the air crash, in internal peace, Honorable Speaker. We would not fathom that happening to any of the officers serving in our government. And you remember, Honorable Speaker, I'm also informed many of those aircrafts, including the ones used by the President, were put to a rigorous maintenance program following the unfortunate incident where we lost our Chief of Defense Forces. And therefore, it is only fair that we allow our military and those who take care of these aircraft to service them and avail them for use by senior government officers when they are in good and serviceable condition, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, allow me, I think I have adequately answered to that, but I want to commit, this is just a preliminary answer to the Honorable Jared Okello. I have since spoken to the Defense Cabinet Secretary and asked him, I'll be writing to him to come and appraise the House as to exactly how senior government officers should move, how secure the aircrafts they are using are, and how often they service them, and any challenges that they may have with those aircrafts, Honorable Speaker. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, let me speak to many people, Honorable Speaker, because I saw a very unfortunate post yesterday on social media by those bloggers who work in those big offices, Honorable Speaker, anticipating the demise or the occurrence of a vacancy in the office of the President. Honorable Speaker, there are things people may do casually and post online. And I remember, Honorable Speaker, when my predecessor, the Honorable Charles Jonjo, was Attorney General and Minister for Constitutional Affairs, he made it treasonable to even imagine the death of a president. We are not in that age, Honorable Speaker. But it's unfortunate that bloggers who work for senior officers of this government can post write-ups on social media, either wishing, anticipating, or praying for the occasioning of a vacancy in the office of the president, and purporting that the deputy president is only an inch away from the presidency should anything happen to the president. Honorable Speaker, these are things we may take lightly. Just as we may take lightly the talk that you referred to by the governor for Nyeri, or indeed the talk about people going to their villages. And I want to agree with Honorable Soro. These are the kind of things, Honorable Speaker, in 2007, 2008 that led us into the problems that we got into with post-election violence. When people were told to go back to their villages. Honorable Speaker, it is true we all come from villages. But please, when we hold senior government positions, we must grow beyond our villages. We must remember that we bear a greater responsibility to the people of Kenya way beyond our villages. And whatever words we utter out of our mouths, Honorable Speaker, must be words that unite the people of Kenya, not those that create divisions. Because if you create division, Honorable Speaker, you are bringing dishonor. And, Honorable Speaker, dealing a big blow to the dignity that the office you hold would have, Honorable Speaker. Lastly, as I said, Honorable Speaker, over the weekend elsewhere, respect is earned. Respect is earned. Honorable Speaker, there are members of parliament here who have suffered. Members of parliament from Nyeri will tell you how much they have suffered. The women rep for Baringo County, if she had an opportunity, Honorable Speaker, she would tell you the unpalatable words that have been used to describe her. Honorable Speaker, and I said, let us earn our respect as leaders. If I demand respect, let me respect the member of parliament for Baringo County. Let me respect the members of parliament from Nyeri. Let me respect the members of parliament from Mount Kenya and across the country.
Who do you want to inform? Madenge.
Yeah?
Majority wind up.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Order, Madenge, take your seat.
No, the member for Nyeri, I think, had me mentioning how much they have suffered. Honorable Speaker, maybe I would allow him 1 minute to inform me.
He wanted to inform you. Do you want information?
I would oblige him to inform me.
1 minute, Madenge.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I speak on behalf of the 6 elected members of parliament in Nyeri County. And this also includes both the senator and the women rep. We have really suffered intimidation and blackmail. And it is imperative that as elected leaders, we be allowed the space to execute the mandate that the ordinary people in Nyeri gave us when they voted for us. It is not possible that the people of Nyeri voted for us so that we can follow an individual when that individual goes dancing, drinking Moratina, and eating nyamachoma. It is not possible. And it's not even in Nyeri. It is in, the dancing is happening in Honorable Kejori's constituency. We want to speak from the floor of this house and inform the country that respect is two-way. You cannot disrespect us in other constituencies and expect us to maintain the respect that we have accorded you for the last 2 years. Respect is earned. It is not demanded. It is not coerced.
You've made
it is
your
not
information.
Enforced. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Wind up. Wind up, Majority
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Allow me to end up, Honorable Speaker, by just saying, Honorable Speaker, just as the Honorable DMM has said, that as national leaders, let us earn our respect. Let us not demean other leaders. Let us not coerce. Let us not intimidate other leaders. And more importantly, Honorable Speaker, let us not seek to blackmail anybody, whether it's members of parliament, whether it's government institutions, or any other officer serving in government, Honorable Speaker. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, as leader of majority, I have said it elsewhere, and I'll repeat it on this floor, Honorable Speaker. I will never, for the time the Almighty God will give me the opportunity to serve in the office of leader of majority, allow anybody to demean any member of parliament, whether you are in the minority, in the majority, whether you come from the same village with somebody or not. I will never sit back, and I will protect the rights of all members of parliament as their leader and as a leader in this house, Honorable Speaker, because in doing so, I believe I am protecting the dignity of not only this house, Honorable Speaker, and individual members, but the dignity and honor of the people who have elected these members of parliament. With those many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I may commit that I will be writing to the Cabinet Secretary of Defense to answer more substantially to the issues raised by the Honorable Jared Okenga.
Thank you. As you do so, the Honorable Minority Leader has requested me to give him a minute on this, and he will be the very last. And take into account what he will say in what you intend to...
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I really didn't want to speak to this, but I think it is my duty to raise my voice on such a weighty matter. Honorable Speaker, let me start by saying that it is not in our place as a Azimio coalition in the House. It's not part of our responsibility to meddle in the affairs of the executive or to attempt to provide solutions to the executive. But Honorable Speaker, as I said earlier on, there can only be one government for the Republic of Kenya at any one given time. Honorable Speaker, there can only be one government for the Republic of Kenya at any one given time. And therefore, a dysfunctioning government, regardless of who has formed that government, affects every citizen. What we are seeing here is the making of a dysfunctioning government. That is what I have to say first. But second, Honorable Speaker, as students of history, we are told that history repeats itself. First, as a farce, and second, as a tragedy. Honorable Speaker, you will recall what happened in this country in the year 1989 or thereabout, when the then Vice President, Dr. Josephat Njuguna Karanja, was hounded out of office on account of becoming too big, of making fellow leaders to kneel before him. He became a kneel before me Vice President. Honorable Speaker, at one point, he actually purported to be the acting president when President Moi was around still. Honorable Speaker, I don't want to say who was right or wrong. Likewise, I don't want to say who is right or wrong in the present instance, because I don't belong to Kenya Kwanza. But let me say this. Honorable Speaker, the Kenya Kwanza government has got a duty now to govern. But you also owe Kenyans a duty to give them a functioning government, a functional government. And therefore, anything that can create dysfunction in government must be sorted out as quickly as possible. Honorable Speaker, you know, when a hyena wants to eat its children, he starts saying that they smell like a goat. Honorable Speaker, I don't know who is the hyena here, who is the goat here. But Honorable Speaker, something is definitely not working. Honorable Speaker, from where we sit as Azimio members, we see a situation where the marriage is not working. And if the marriage is not working, the logical thing to do is to separate. So marry another wife. The wife and the husband are not compatible or are no longer compatible. Yes. So the most logical thing to do is to divorce, but start by separating. So if you want us to help you in the process of separation and divorce, then we are willing to do so. We shall offer our free services. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Order. Honorable members, wacha tuachie hapo. This matter will end here. Next order. Next order.
Order number 11, Committee of the Whole House.
Order, honorable members, will you be upstanding? We are going into a committee of the whole.
Order. Order, Honorable Undo. They are very happy at... Where are we starting from? Just let them be. What are we dealing with?
Committee.
Where is the bill? Honorable members, we are in the committee of the whole House to consider the Equalization Fund Appropriations Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2023.
Clause 3.
Honorable members, I propose that clause 3 of the bill be part of the bill. Chair budget. The chair budget has an amendment to clause 3. Is it Honorable Makali Mulu moving the amendment on behalf of the Chair, Budget and Appropriations Committee? There is an amendment by the Chair, Budget and Appropriations Committee to clause B, clause 3 of the bill. Honorable members, this is the Equalization Fund Appropriation Bill. The bill you spoke at length about yesterday in the afternoon. It's a very crucial bill. I would request we attend to it. There is an amendment moved by the Chair, Budget and Appropriations Committee on clause 3 to clause 3 of the bill. May the members who are standing take their seats so that we transact this together and as fast as possible. Honorable Makali Mulu, move on behalf of the chair, please.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, I move that clause 3 of the bill be amended as captured in the order paper. And since we have very few amendments, Honorable Chair, maybe I can give the details. A, by deleting the words 10,800,000
400,000 appearing in the opening statement and substituting therefore the words 10,077,400,000. B, in paragraph A, by deleting the words 326,022,000 and substituting therefore the words 302,322,000. And C, in paragraph B, by deleting the words 10,541,378,000 and substituting therefore the words 9,775,800,000. Yes, I beg to move, Honorable Chair.
Honorable members, I propose the question that clause 3 of the bill be amended as proposed by the Chair, Budget and Appropriations Committee. The Honorable Undo.
Chair, as Dr. Makali Mulu knows the procedure and the practice in this House, he needs to tell us what necessitated the changes. What was it before? Why is it? What is it now? And what has caused the changes? Considering this is a money bill, and the process of moving amendments is clearly stated out in the Constitution, the PFM Act, and our standing order. He needs to tell us what has changed from what was passed in Senate and what we have here. And with those change amount to changing the Senate bill and go to arbitration, we need more information, Chair. As we wait to see, history repeats itself. It has happened here before in this House, and history is repeating itself this time around again. And we are happy.
The Honorable Makali Mulu, you want to explain the effect of the amendment?
Honorable Chair.
Therefore, put the question that clause 3 of the bill be amended as proposed by the Chair, Budget and Appropriations Committee. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable members, I now put the question that clause 3 of the bill be part as amended, be part of the bill. Honorable members, I put the question that clause 3 of the bill as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clauses 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Honorable members, I propose the question that clause 4 of the bill, clause 4 be part of the bill. May I repeat, honorable members, I propose the question at clauses 4, 5, 6, 7 of the bill be part of the bill. Honorable members, I now put the question at clauses 4, 5, 6, and 7 be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Schedule.
There is an amendment to the schedule. But I propose the question that the schedule be part of the bill. Chair, Budget and Appropriations. Bind. Take it. Directly bind.
Yeah, Honorable Chair, I beg to move that the schedule to the bill be deleted and substituted, therefore, the following new schedule. As captured in the order paper, the
importance of this, Honorable Chair, is that now that we have changed the figures above, it is important that we allocate how much money will go for the expenses, for the board, which we call the secretariat, and how much will be allocated to the benefiting counties. So this schedule, Honorable Chair, indicates now, because we've changed the overall figure, then the changes which will be done to align it to the new figures. With those remarks, Honorable Chair, I beg to move.
Yeah, honorable members, I propose the question that the schedule as amended be part of the bill. Honorable members, I propose the question that the schedule be amended as proposed by the Chair, Budget and Appropriations Committee. There appears to be no interest. I now put the question. Yes, the Honorable Undo.
Chair, I just want to note, and the country should know, that this equalization bill, the third schedule, seems to be reveling in tokenism, dropping small things here and there to be seen to be sharing the cake throughout the country, yet the majority of the funds still remain in the so-called marginalized area. And of course, the question we always beg to ask, for how long will they continue claiming to be marginalized? And we just hope and pray that these funds that have been allocated to go to this marginalized area, the moment they are absorbed, let's hope not half of it will find its way back here in Nairobi to build malls and skyscrapers. Thank you, Chair.
The Honorable Dido Russell.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, whereas I support the committee, my concern is if we will continue in this pace, this will not be equalization fund. We must give it another name, because why give a constituency 5 million, 10 million? What do you want it to do? We must put enough money, whether it is going to build the schools, hospitals, or roads, or water. Going forward, I think the next schedule of equalization fund, if it will come in this form, in this context, I think many of us are going to fight it on the floor of this House and even in the court of law. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable members, I now put the question that the schedule be amended as proposed by the Chair, Budget and Appropriations Committee. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable members, I now put the question that the schedule be part of the bill, the schedule as amended be part of the bill. Honorable members, I will put the question again. Order, honorable members. These members could take their seats and discuss from where they are. I put the question that the schedule as amended be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 2.
Honorable members, I propose the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. Honorable members, there being no amendment and no interest on the matter, I put the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Title.
Honorable members, I propose the question that the title be the title of the bill. Honorable members, I put the question that the title be the title of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 1.
Honorable members, I propose the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. Honorable members, I now put the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. Will as many as are of that opinion say aye? Will as many as are of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Mover. The Honorable Makali Mulu. On behalf of the Chair, Budget and Appropriations Committee.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of Equalization Fund, Appropriation Bill number 2, Senate Bill number 30 of 2023, and its approval thereof with amendments.
Honorable members, I put the question, which is that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Equalization Fund Appropriations number 2 bill, Senate Bill number 30 of 2023, and its approval thereof with amendments. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
Honorable members, the chairperson to report to the House.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to report that the Committee of the Whole House has considered the Equalization Fund Appropriation number 2 bill, Senate Bill number 30 of 2023, and approved the same with amendments.
Honorable members, the mover of the bill to move agreement with the report. Who is the mover of the bill?
Honorable.
Yes, proceed.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the House do agree with the committee in the said report.
I propose. Yeah.
And I also request Honorable Majority Leader, Honorable Kimani Chungwa, to second the motion for agreement with the report of the Committee of the Whole House.
Honorable Speaker, I second.
Honorable members, I now propose the question which is that the House do agree with the committee in the said report. Honorable members, ordinarily I should put the question, but I will not put the question. The question is deferred to another day. Proceed, honorable members, next order. We have concluded this debate, and the only thing left is putting the question. So we're now moving to the next order. Next order, honorable members.
Order number 12, motion, report on the consideration of the Consolidated Fund Services expenditure for the supplementary estimates 2 for the financial year 2023-2024 and the budget estimates for the financial year 2024-2025.
Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopts the report of the Public Debt and Privatization Committee on its consideration of the Consolidated Fund Services for the supplementary estimates 2 for the year 2023-2024 and the budget estimates for the financial year 24-25 laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 4th June 2024. Honorable Speaker, this marks the 5th report on the Consolidated Fund Services expenditures presented and deliberated within these chambers. I extend my gratitude to the diligent members of the Public Debt and Privatization Committee for their unwavering commitment in examining the estimates of expenditure under the CFS and for tabling this report for deliberation. Our appreciation also goes to the stakeholders who contributed insights during the committee sessions and to the committee secretariat whose support was instrumental in finalizing this report. Honorable Speaker, the CFS expenditures are obligatory expenditures that are deducted directly from the consolidated funds and are not included in the annual appropriation bill, as stipulated in Article 2217 of the Kenyan Constitution. These are therefore mandatory expenditures and constitute of 1. Public debt servicing expenditures, 2. Pension payments, and 3. Salaries and allowances for independent officers and constitutional commissions, among others. Honorable Speaker, under the CFS expenditures, under supplementary 2 estimates, expenditures will amount to Kenya shillings 1.99 trillion. It will primarily comprise of debt servicing expenses worth Kenya shillings 1.8 trillion, representing 90% of the overall CFS expenditures. Additionally, the CFS expenditures include pension expenditures amounting to Kenya shillings 187.6 billion, which will account for the remaining 10%. Honorable Speaker, for the financial year 24-25, total CFS expenditures are projected to amount to Kenya shillings 2.06 trillion. The CFS expenditures will be composed of debt servicing expenditures worth Kenya shillings 1.83 trillion and pension, salary, allowances, and other miscellaneous expenditures worth Kenya shillings 203.6 billion. The committee also observed that the cost of domestic debt that continues to drive CFS expenditures by accounting for 61% of the total CFS expenditures. Honorable Speaker, in general, the CFS expenditures therefore constitute the largest expenditure component of the national government spending. It underscores the necessity to strengthen the National Assembly's oversight capacity over these expenditures to ensure transparency and accountability. Furthermore, Honorable Speaker, it also highlights the ongoing fiscal challenges confronting the nation, stressing the importance of designing and implementing strategies to lower these expenses. Therefore, maintaining fiscal discipline, adhering to the fiscal consolidated trajectory, and freeing up fiscal space for key development investment has never been more crucial. These steps should aim to stimulate sustainable economic growth rates exceeding 10%. Honorable Speaker, the committee noted a projected improvement in the fiscal deficit between financial year 23-24 to financial year 24-25 from 5.6% of GDP to 2.9%. Achieving a lower deficit to GDP ratio is vital for sustaining fiscal health, ensuring economic stability, attracting investment, and securing better economic prospects for subsequent generations. Despite this positive outlook, it's vital to remain realistic and diligently pursue this target, even if it requires rigorous fiscal discipline. Honorable Speaker, in this context, reducing expenditure on public debt service is essential. These expenditures, which on average constitute 88% of CFS expenditures, indicate an escalation in largely non-productive expenditures, causing liquidity constraints and increasing vulnerability to macroeconomic shocks. Honorable Speaker, total debt service expenditures are projected to reach Kenya shillings 1.8 trillion in the financial year 23-24 and Kenya shillings 1.85 trillion in the financial year 24-25, underscoring the increasing inflexibility of our fiscal structure. This is illustrated by the interest expenditures for the financial year 24-25, which are anticipated to be Kenya shillings 1.01 trillion, equivalent to 5.6% of our GDP. Tackling this challenge is essential for boosting budget flexibility and enhancing liquidity. Honorable Speaker, beyond fiscal management, effective management of the macroeconomic factors is crucial. The committee observed that the depreciation of the Kenya shillings against the US dollar in the financial year 23-24 led to an increase of up to Kenya shillings 1.2 trillion in external debt stock and over Kenya shillings 300 billion increase in external debt service expenditure. Although this was mitigated by the subsequent appreciation of the Kenya shilling, it highlights the significant cost of implications of some macroeconomic policies. Going forward, fiscal and monetary policies should operate synergistically to mitigate the financial burden of external debt and reduce interest costs. Honorable Speaker, a thorough review of the debt operations and the CFS expenditures is also warranted. In the financial year 23-24, the National Treasury became the primary debtor for the debt owed by Kenya Airways PLC. According to supplementary 2 estimates, the guaranteed debt of Kenya Airways PLC was integrated into the main external public debt stock for the financial year 23-24. The interest and the principal payment for this new loan are projected to be Kenya shillings 14.3 billion in the financial year 23-24 and Kenya shillings 20.9 billion financial year 24-25, with further payments of Kenya shillings 21.3 billion and Kenya shillings 10.7 billion expected in the financial year 25-26 and financial year 26-27, respectively. Honorable Speaker, the committee noted that this resulted in additional financial commitments without corresponding assets, thereby increasing the financial burden. We would like to emphasize that just because these expenditures are a direct charge to the consolidated fund do not require appropriation, they are not exempted from oversight by the National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, there is an overall necessity to establish laws, protocols, and standards to oversee CFS expenditures, given that they currently represent the most substantial government outlays and are expected to maintain this status in the foreseeable future. The committee has observed absence of provisions within the Public Finance Management Act of 2012, specifically regulating CFS expenditures. Despite this significance, this gap poses a loophole in their management. The committee will take necessary action to address this issue, ensuring the involvement and input of all stakeholders in the process. Honorable Speaker, this process should be backstopped by enhancement of the National Assembly standing orders to set adequate procedures to ensure that the National Assembly remains on a proactive stance in the review of these rising expenditures. Honorable Speaker, after our deliberations on the estimates of the consolidated fund services under both the supplementary estimates 2 for the financial year 23-24 and financial year 24-25 and consultation with various stakeholders, the committee therefore gives the following recommendations for consideration by the House. 1, that within 60 days of the adoption of this report, the National Treasury should conduct a comprehensive review of all CFS expenditures to identify areas where spending can be reduced or made more efficient and prioritize expenditures that directly contribute to national development goals and critical government functions. 2, that upon adoption of this report, the National Treasury and Central Bank of Kenya should undertake quarterly macroeconomic reviews in order to ensure that fiscal and monetary policies operate synergistically to mitigate financial burden of external debt and reduce interest cost. The result of these deliberations should be submitted to the National Assembly within 15 days of the end of each quarter. 3, that the National Treasury should undertake a review of the cost of overdraft facility and submit a report to the National Assembly within 30 days of the adoption of this report. The report should review the use of the facility, the cost structure of the overdraft facility, and make proposals to manage and reduce interest payments. 4, that the National Treasury should submit regulations to the National Assembly within 90 days of the adoption of this report that will guide the use of the overdraft facility. 5, that within 60 days of the adoption of this report, the National Treasury should submit to the National Assembly a comprehensive report of the use of the Kenya shillings 200 billion allocated for the redemption of Treasury bills shortfall for the financial year 23-24. 6, that the National Treasury should, within 30 days of the adoption of this report, submit to the National Assembly the full details, including contracts between itself and all parties that resulted in the assumption of Kenya Airways PLC guaranteed debt. 7, that within 30 days of the adoption of this report, the National Treasury should undertake an impact assessment of the assumption of the debtor responsibilities for Kenya Airways PLC guaranteed debt and submit a report to the National Assembly covering the cost